Have you ever believed that taking a shower every single day was just good hygiene? Something you should never skip, no matter your age? I used to believe that too. In fact, for most of my life, and even in the early years of working with older adults, I thought that daily bathing was a non-negotiable part of staying clean, fresh, and healthy. It felt like common sense. But what if I told you that once you pass the age of 70, this very routine could actually be doing more harm than good? That's right. Each steamy shower or long soak in the tub might be silently stripping your skin, sapping your energy, or even putting you at serious risk of falling. I know this sounds odd, but the older you get, the less you may need to bathe. Sound crazy? You'll be shocked by what I reveal in fact number 3. The truth is, as we age, everything about our skin and body chemistry changes. What used to work in our 30s or 40s may no longer serve us in our 70s and beyond. Over the last decade working in geriatric health, I've seen this mistake far too often, well-meaning seniors clinging to old routines without realizing those habits are now working against them. You might have noticed it yourself. The more frequently you bathe, the itchier or drier your skin becomes. Or maybe you feel weak or dizzy afterward, even if the water wasn't too hot. Some older adults I've met even begin to avoid bathing, not out of neglect, but because it leaves them exhausted or unsteady on their feet. That's not just a coincidence, it's biology. And it's time we talked about it. Let me ask you this. Have you or someone close to you ever felt drained, uncomfortable, or unusually fatigued after a routine bath? If that sounds familiar, type the word yes in the comments right now. I'd love to hear your experience, and I read every single response. And while you're here, if you find this topic valuable, or you care about someone over 70, please take a second to like this video, subscribe, and tap the bell icon. Your support helps this channel grow, and more importantly, it helps spread the message of smarter, safer aging to those who need it most. In today's video, we're going to uncover 7 surprising facts about how often seniors should really bathe after 70. We'll explore how daily washing can dry out fragile skin, why less frequent bathing may actually reduce infection risk, and even how your body might already be cleaning itself better than you think. And if you stick around to the end, I'll share one expert-approved trick to stay clean and fresh without even stepping into a slippery bathroom. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Because aging well isn't about doing less. It's about doing what works best for the body you have now, not the one you had decades ago. Ready to rethink your routine? Great, because what you're about to learn in fact number 1 could change how you view personal care forever. Let's get started. 1. Daily baths can harm senior skin. Let's begin with the first and perhaps most surprising fact. Daily bathing can actually damage your skin once you're over 70. I know, it sounds completely backward. For most of our lives, we've been taught that cleanliness is next to godliness. But what many don't realize is that as we age, our skin undergoes profound changes that make it more fragile, more sensitive, and far less able to recover from stress. Even something as seemingly harmless as a hot shower. Over the years, I've worked with hundreds of older adults dealing with recurring dry patches, chronic itching, and even skin infections, many of which trace back to overwashing. Here's why. As we grow older, the outer layer of the skin, the epidermis, becomes thinner. Collagen and elastin, the proteins that once kept skin supple and resilient, decline dramatically. Sebaceous glands, which produce natural oils that protect and hydrate the skin, slow down. Sweat glands, too, become less active. The result? A surface that's no longer naturally lubricated, no longer cushioned against the environment, and much more vulnerable to irritation. Now imagine what happens when that skin is exposed to hot water every single day, especially if harsh soaps or scrubbing is involved. Each bath strips away what little sebum the body still produces, leaving the skin defenseless. That's when problems start to appear. Tightness, flakiness, and that constant itching sensation that many seniors describe as unbearable. In more serious cases, dry skin develops into a condition called xerosis, where the skin becomes rough, cracked, and even prone to bleeding. These cracks aren't just uncomfortable. They're open doors for bacteria, leading to infections or worsening chronic skin conditions like dermatitis. And if you've ever pulled on a shirt and felt the sting of cracked skin catching on fabric, you know how painful that can be. But it's more than just discomfort. For seniors with arthritis, reduced mobility, or limited dexterity, The daily act of bathing is already a physical challenge. When it also results in damaged skin, it becomes a burden. Hot water dissolves lipids, essential fats that help lock in moisture, while alkaline soaps disrupt the skin's pH balance. Dermatologists agree, over-cleansing aged skin doesn't just dry it out, it accelerates deterioration. And here's the hook that often stops people in their tracks. Each time you take a hot shower after 70, your skin weakens just a little more. Do that every day, and over time, you're left with a barrier so thin, it can no longer protect you. Think about that. A routine that once felt refreshing may now be setting off a slow, silent chain reaction that leaves your body exposed. So what's the solution? It's not about giving up hygiene. It's about redefining it to protect what matters most. Instead of a full-body soak every day, many experts recommend reducing bath frequency to every other day, or just 2 to 3 times a week, using lukewarm water and mild, pH-balanced cleansers. This allows your skin to retain its natural oils, reduces the risk of irritation, and helps preserve its resilience. And as we'll see next, there's an even more unexpected benefit to bathing less frequently. It can actually lower your risk of infection. Sounds unbelievable? Let me show you why in the next section. 2. Less bathing lowers infection risk. Here's something that may completely challenge your idea of hygiene. Bathing less often might actually help protect seniors from skin infections. That's not just a theory. It's supported by research, clinical observation, and decades of experience in elder care. In fact, one of the most eye-opening patterns I've seen in older adults is this. The more frequently they bathe, the more likely they are to suffer from skin tears, irritations, and infections that simply wouldn't have occurred otherwise. At first glance, it seems counterintuitive. How could less washing lead to better health? But the answer lies in the biology of aging skin and the reality that the body's outer barrier becomes more vulnerable over time. Unlike younger skin, which is thick, elastic, and self-repairing, senior skin is thin, dry, and heals at a slower pace due to reduced blood circulation and decreased immune function. Even a minor scrape or a tiny crack can become a serious entry point for harmful bacteria like Staphylococcus aureus or Streptococcus, potentially leading to cellulitis, abscesses, or, in severe cases, life-threatening sepsis. And what many people don't realize is that daily bathing, especially with hot water and harsh soaps, can weaken that barrier even further, making the skin more prone to these microtears. Each time you wash, you strip away the skin's natural oils and proteins that hold cells together. Over time, this repeated stripping leads to a brittle surface that can break under the slightest pressure, from pulling on socks to brushing against furniture. And then there's the friction caused by scrubbing, a well-meaning habit that actually wears down skin structure even faster. But here's the hook. The cleaner you try to be, the more damage you might be doing, especially after 70. That idea may sound absurd at first, but study after study confirms it. For example, findings published in journals like the New England Journal of Medicine have shown that older adults who bathe less frequently, say 2 or 3 times a week instead of daily, experience fewer skin injuries and lower rates of infection. Why? Because their skin has time to heal, retain moisture, and rebuild its natural defenses. Hygiene doesn't have to mean a full-body wash every day. In fact, targeted spot cleaning, using a soft, damp cloth to gently wipe high-sweat areas like the underarms, groin, or feet, can keep seniors feeling fresh without compromising their skin integrity. This approach is especially valuable for those with mobility challenges, arthritis, or limited energy. It's not about lowering standards. It's about being smarter with self-care. Reducing the number of full baths not only preserves the skin, but also cuts down the number of risky bathroom visits, reducing physical strain and potential accidents. And as we'll explore in the next section, this shift in routine offers another hidden advantage. Less bathing also significantly reduces the risk of falls, the #1 threat to senior safety inside the home. If you've never considered the link between bathing and broken bones, trust me, you'll want to stick around for what's coming next. 3. Falls are a bigger threat than dirt. Let's talk about something far more dangerous than a little dirt on your skin: falling. For seniors over 70, the biggest risk in the bathroom isn't poor hygiene. It's injury, especially from slipping or losing balance during a routine bath or shower. I've seen this firsthand, time and time again. A woman in her late 70s, active, independent, sharp as ever, came into my care after a seemingly small fall stepping out of the tub. That fall left her with a fractured hip, months of rehab, and a loss of mobility she never fully regained. And she wasn't alone. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, more than 1 in 4 adults over 65 falls each year. That's not just a statistic. It's millions of emergency room visits, surgeries, hospitalizations, and heartbreaking shifts from independent living to long-term care. And here's what might shock you. Daily bathing significantly increases the risk. Think about what the typical shower requires: stepping over the edge of a tub, balancing on one leg, reaching awkwardly to wash hard-to-reach areas, and then exiting while dripping wet onto a slick floor. Add in fogged-up glasses, stiff joints, or a sudden dizzy spell, and you've got a perfect storm for disaster. The American Geriatric Society has emphasized that bathing is one of the most hazardous activities for older adults, especially in the early morning or evening, when fatigue or medication side effects are more likely to impair stability. So let me say this clearly. Spotless skin isn't worth a shattered hip. You can live with a bit of sweat or mild body odor. You can't easily recover from a fall that changes your life forever. And yet, millions of seniors take this risk daily out of habit, not need. But what if I told you that simply bathing less often, say once or twice a week instead of every day, could reduce your exposure to this high-risk environment by half or more? Fewer trips to the bathroom mean fewer chances for accidents. Combine that with smart safety upgrades like grab bars, non-slip mats, a shower chair, or even switching to sponge baths, and suddenly you've created a safer, more sustainable routine. Personal cleanliness matters, but not at the cost of your safety. And remember, this isn't about giving up, it's about adapting. Many older adults, especially those living alone or with limited mobility, find that cutting back on full-body showers and focusing on key areas with a cloth or no-rinse solution keeps them just as fresh, while reducing physical strain. If you or someone you love is in this situation, don't wait until an accident happens to make a change. Prevention starts with awareness. And the truth is, we need to stop measuring cleanliness by how often we stand under running water. Because as we'll explore in the next section, your body might already have a built-in cleaning system that works better than you think. No soap or scrubbing required. Let's take a closer look at the fascinating self-cleaning abilities of your own skin. 4. Your body cleans itself. Now here's a fact that might challenge everything you thought you knew about hygiene. Your body is already equipped with a powerful self-cleaning system, and it works better than most people realize, especially when we don't interfere with it too much. I know this sounds like something from a wellness magazine or a quirky natural remedy blog, but trust me, it's real, and it's backed by science. The skin, far from being just a passive surface, is a dynamic, living organ that's constantly working to protect, renew, and clean itself. And over the years, especially in working with older adults, I've seen something fascinating. The seniors who bathe less often, while still maintaining basic hygiene routines, tend to have calmer, healthier, more balanced skin than those who scrub daily. That's not coincidence. That's biology. Let me explain. Your skin is covered in what's called a microbiome, a community of beneficial bacteria, fungi, and even microscopic mites that serve as your body's frontline defense. These tiny organisms consume sweat, dead skin cells, and excess oils, and in the process, they help keep harmful microbes at bay. Some even produce natural antimicrobial compounds that fight off infections. Then there's sebum, the oil your skin produces. Sebum isn't something dirty to be washed away. It's actually a protective shield. It traps moisture, repels environmental toxins, and supports the good bacteria living on your skin. Plus, your skin naturally sheds dead cells through a process called desquamation, a gentle, ongoing exfoliation that takes care of buildup without you even noticing. When we overwash, especially with hot water and harsh soap, we disrupt this finely tuned system. We kill off friendly bacteria, strip away sebum, and damage the skin barrier. The result? Dryness, itching, inflammation, and ironically, a greater vulnerability to the very problems we're trying to avoid. As a specialist who has watched this play out time and again, I can tell you, the more you scrub your skin in your 70s, the more you interfere with the very process that's trying to protect you. That's a truth that most people have never heard, and one that many are surprised to learn. In fact, dermatology journals like the Journal of Investigative Dermatology have reported higher rates of eczema, allergic reactions, and skin infections in seniors who bathe too frequently. So what's the smarter approach? Clean strategically. Wipe down key areas like the underarms, groin, and feet using a soft cloth or gentle wipe. Use mild, pH-balanced cleansers only when necessary. Let the rest of your skin do what it was designed to do: breathe, balance, and defend. This shift isn't just convenient, it's empowering. It honors the natural intelligence of your body, reduces unnecessary effort, and prevents overexposure to water, soap, and friction. Think of it as respectful hygiene, not aggressive cleansing. And if you're wondering whether this kind of minimalist care is enough, stay with me. Because up next, we'll look at what top medical experts are now recommending when it comes to how often seniors should actually bathe. And trust me, the answer may surprise you. 5. Experts say once or twice a week is enough. Now let's address the question that's probably been forming in your mind. So, how often should seniors really bathe? According to leading experts in dermatology and geriatric medicine, the surprising answer is once or twice a week is usually enough. And no, this isn't about lowering hygiene standards or letting yourself go. It's about matching your self-care routine to what your aging body truly needs. The American Academy of Dermatology, along with geriatric specialists from respected institutions like Johns Hopkins and UCLA, now emphasize that the daily bath, so often seen as a cornerstone of cleanliness, isn't a one-size-fits-all rule, especially not for those over 70. In fact, that old rule? It's largely a product of 20th century marketing, when soap companies pushed the message that freshness meant lathering up every single day. But science tells a different story. Seniors, with thinner, drier, and more delicate skin, need a more tailored approach. The overuse of water and soap doesn't just dry the skin, it breaks it down. As someone who's worked in elderly care for over a decade, I've seen many older adults experience chronic rashes, flaking, and even pressure sores. Not because they weren't bathing enough, but because they were bathing too much. You're not neglecting yourself by skipping the daily shower. You're protecting your skin. That shift in mindset is vital. And experts agree. Bathing frequency should be based on activity level, health status, and comfort, not habit. For example, a retired senior who spends most of their day indoors with limited physical activity doesn't need to bathe every day. Spot cleaning with a warm cloth, changing clothes regularly, and using deodorant are usually more than enough to maintain hygiene. On the other hand, someone who's more active, gardening, walking daily, or managing conditions like incontinence, might require more targeted washing, but still not a full-body rinse every 24 hours. The key is balance. Daily bathing is not the default anymore. It's an option, not a prescription. And it's worth noting that older adults who reduce bathing frequency often report better skin health, less fatigue, and fewer falls. I've heard patients tell me, ever since I stopped showering every day, my skin stopped itching and I actually have more energy. That's not coincidence. That's common sense aligned with evidence. So if you're over 70 or caring for someone who is, it might be time to rethink what clean really means. Hygiene isn't just about how often you wash, it's about how wisely you do it. But that brings us to something just as important as protecting the skin, protecting energy. Because as you'll learn in the next section, bathing may be costing seniors more than just moisture. It may be draining their strength, one shower at a time. 6. Daily baths can exhaust seniors. Let's talk about something most people overlook when it comes to bathing: the sheer physical effort it takes, especially for older adults. What used to be a relaxing ritual in youth can, after 70, become a full-body workout that drains your energy for hours. I've worked with seniors who feel completely wiped out after a simple morning shower, so much so that they need to lie down afterward. For some, that one activity is the day. And when you look closer, it makes perfect sense. A full-body bath involves multiple taxing movements: standing for 10 to 15 minutes, bending to wash your feet, reaching to scrub your back, drying off hard-to-reach places, and then dressing, all while managing balance, heat, and sometimes shortness of breath. For seniors with arthritis, heart conditions, or even mild frailty, this is more than just inconvenient, it's exhausting. One patient I worked with, a lively 82-year-old woman, told me, "I'd rather skip breakfast than shower. I'm so tired after. I don't want to do anything else. That really stuck with me. And she's not alone. According to findings from the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA, bathing can trigger a cascade of physical stressors, especially in older adults with chronic fatigue or reduced cardiovascular health. Standing in warm water dilates blood vessels, potentially lowering blood pressure and causing dizziness. For those with COPD or weak lungs, steam makes it harder to breathe. And for nearly half of all seniors living with arthritis, every movement in the bath becomes a painful negotiation with stiff joints. Even the act of gripping a slippery bar of soap can feel like a challenge. And it doesn't end there. Toweling off, putting on lotion, changing clothes, each adds another layer of strain. And here's the hook. For many older adults, bathing isn't refreshing, it's depleting. And that hidden exhaustion can quietly steal away your freedom. Because here's the thing. When energy is limited, where you spend it matters. Wouldn't you rather use that energy to take a walk, cook your favorite meal, or have a meaningful conversation? The truth is, when daily bathing becomes a chore that eats up strength, it can lead to skipped meals, missed medications, or isolation, all from being too tired. That's why many healthcare providers now recommend scaling back to a more sustainable routine, bathing once or twice a week, supported by seated showers, handheld nozzles, or sponge baths for in-between days. These simple shifts help preserve energy, reduce injury risk, and give older adults the freedom to do more with their day. Because this isn't just about hygiene, it's about preserving quality of life. And as we wrap up, there's one final truth to consider, maybe the most liberating one of all. Cleanliness doesn't begin and end with a bath. In fact, hygiene is much broader than we've been taught. Let's explore how seniors can stay fresh, confident, and dignified without stepping into the shower at all. 7. Hygiene isn't just about bathing. Here's the final, and perhaps most liberating truth of all. Hygiene isn't just about taking a bath. It never really was. For seniors, especially those over 70, this realization can be a game changer. Cleanliness isn't measured by how often you soak in water. It's about maintaining comfort, confidence, and health in a way that works with your body, not against it. Over the years, I've seen so many older adults wrestle with guilt or embarrassment, thinking that skipping a shower means they're neglecting themselves. But the truth is, there are dozens of ways to stay fresh and hygienic without stepping into a slippery tub. And in many cases, those ways are safer, smarter, and more sustainable. Let's reframe what hygiene really means. Something as simple as using pre-moistened wipes to gently clean under the arms, groin, and feet can keep you odor-free without the effort and risk of a full bath. Changing into fresh clothes daily, especially breathable fabrics, can reduce sweat buildup and keep skin comfortable. Brushing your teeth, flossing, and rinsing with mouthwash not only protect your smile, they eliminate bacteria that cause bad breath and infection. And don't forget hand washing, especially before meals or after using the bathroom, is one of the most powerful tools for staying healthy, and it requires no soap suds over your whole body. Even something as subtle as combing your hair, applying deodorant, or spritzing a little body mist can create that refreshed, cared-for feeling. These are not lesser options. They are adapted hygiene strategies, ones that honor the realities of aging while preserving independence and dignity. And here's the hook that brings it home. True cleanliness isn't about how much water you use. It's about how empowered you feel in your own skin. I've seen seniors who've switched to this balanced routine feel more energized, more confident, and less anxious about keeping up with unrealistic expectations. And for caregivers, this is also a huge breakthrough. It gives them more tools to support loved ones without causing unnecessary discomfort or fatigue. Research in geriatric nursing confirms that seniors who follow modified hygiene routines feel just as socially presentable as those who bathe daily, and they report fewer skin issues and less emotional stress. Best of all, this approach gives older adults something precious: choice. It allows them to shape a hygiene routine around their bodies, not the outdated standards society once imposed. And as we close this video, I invite you to reflect on everything we've uncovered today. From how daily showers can dry and damage aging skin, to how less frequent bathing can actually protect your health, preserve your energy, and restore a sense of comfort, you now hold the keys to a better way forward. If something resonated with you, I'd love to hear it. What was your biggest aha moment? What are you going to change or suggest to someone you love? Share it in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss more empowering tips for aging smarter, safer, and stronger. Because when it comes to your health, it's not about doing what you've always done. It's about doing what truly works for the person you are today. So now that we've uncovered all 7 surprising facts, let's step back and face a deeper truth, one that few people talk about. The daily bathing routine many seniors have followed their entire lives might no longer be serving their health. In fact, it could be silently working against it. The idea that you must shower every day to be clean, respected, or presentable is deeply rooted in culture, but not in science. For those of us over 70 or caring for someone who is, it's time we ask a bold question. Are we holding on to hygiene habits that no longer make sense for aging bodies? The evidence is clear: your skin changes, your energy changes, your risks change. Yet many people are still afraid to change the routine. Why? Because they've never been told this truth before. That's why I made this video. Because someone needs to say it out loud. And here's the hook I hope stays with you. The shower you've always trusted might now be stealing your strength, your safety, and your skin's ability to heal, one rinse at a time. That's not a scare tactic. It's a reality I've seen in real lives, real homes, real patients. But here's the good news. When you adjust your bathing habits to match your age, you reclaim control. You protect your skin, preserve your energy, and reduce your risk of dangerous falls. You make space for smarter self-care that keeps you independent longer. You're not abandoning hygiene, you're reinventing it. You're trusting your body's natural wisdom and choosing to work with it, not against it. And let me tell you, there's real power in that. If this video opened your eyes in any way, I want to hear from you. What fact shocked you the most? Was it the link between overbathing and skin infections? Or how your body cleans itself more effectively than you thought? Or maybe it was realizing that one simple bathing less could drastically lower your fall risk. Whatever it was, drop it in the comments below. Let's start a real conversation, because that's how we change the culture around aging. One story, one insight, one brave shift at a time. And if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another episode in this senior wellness series. Your support helps this message reach more people who truly need it. Because growing older shouldn't mean losing control. It should mean living smarter, bolder, and with the confidence to break free from outdated habits. So here's your invitation. Take this new knowledge, apply what fits your life, and pass it on to someone who might benefit. Whether it's a parent, a partner, or even yourself, this small shift in mindset could make a huge difference. Because after all, less water, less risk, more life. That's the truth no one tells you about bathing after 70. And now that you know it, what will you do with it?